I want to make an argument that you will not hear on most podcasts, and definitely not on mainstream media, because the cultural conversation around children has become so cautious and so careful about not seeming to judge anyone's choices that it has stopped being honest about something important. Having children is not a lifestyle choice. It is a human nature. I want to be precise about what I mean by that. I'm not saying that people who do not have children cannot live a meaningful life and fulfilled lives. They can. I'm not making a judgment about individual circumstances, health, or personal situations. What I'm saying is this: across every human culture, across every century of recorded history, across every continent, every religious tradition, and every political system that has ever existed, human beings have organized their lives around family formation, around the bearing and raising of children. This is not a coincidence. This is not a cultural preference that happened to be popular for a few thousand years and is now being improved upon. This is what we are built for at the deepest biological and psychological level. The research on meaning and purpose is clear about this. Having children is not strongly linked to moment happiness. Now, I will be honest about that because the data is honest about it. Parenting is hard. It is expensive. It is exhausting. The day-to-day experience of raising young children produces the kind of hedonic happiness the surveys capture. This is a different kind of well-being. Researchers call it eudaimonic well-being, the sense of living a life worth living. Parenting is one of its strongest sources for both men and women. The distinction between happiness and meaning is one of the most important things I can tell you in this episode. Short-term happiness is the feeling you get from a good meal, a vacation, a quiet afternoon. Meaning is the thing that makes you able to get through a hard year because you know what you are doing it for. Children provide meaning in a way that almost nothing else in human life matches. And meaning is what sustains a person through a difficulty. It is what makes the 2 a.m. moments survive. Now, here's the part that breaks my heart when I look at data clearly. Statistics Canada confirm Canada's fertility rate in 2023 at 1.26 children per woman, the lowest ever recorded. The United States sits at 1.62. Both countries are far below the 2.1 replacement rate needed to maintain the population. And Gallup data I mentioned earlier tells us that Americans want 2.7 children on average. Gallup's own analysis says that the gap over a full child per family between what people want and what they are having is driven primarily by practical challenges, not by changing desires. People aren't choosing not to have children. They are being priced out of having children. Statistics Canada estimates the cost of raising one child from birth to age 18 in Canada at approximately $293,000 in the current dollars. In the United States, the USDA base figures is $233,000, which the Brookings Institution adjusts to over $310,000 in the current dollars. And those numbers do not include post-secondary education. Expensive years of raising a young child coincides exactly with the years when a young parent are also trying to buy a first home, pay off a student debt, and establish themselves professionally. Those costs do not arrive one at a time. They arrive simultaneously. I know a woman, late 30s, married to a good man, both of them working full-time in professional jobs. They have one child, and they want three. They've had the conversation probably 50 times. The math never works. The childcare for one child already consumes nearly entirety of one salary. According to second means one parent stops working, which means the mortgage becomes impossible, which means they either move away from city where their jobs and their community and their support systems are, or they stay and they live in financial pressure that both of them know their marriage cannot absorb indefinitely. She told me something in the conversation I will not forget. She said, I feel like I'm grieving a family I never got to have, while the family I do have is right in front of me. I did not know what to do with that. I did not have an answer for her. But I want to name what she described publicly, because I think millions of people are carrying exactly that grief, and the culture has not decided yet whether they are allowed to say it out loud. Child free by financial necessity is not the same as child free by choice. Both look identical in the statistics, they do not feel identical. And the silence around the differences is one of the cruelest things this economic moment is doing to people.